Hatcher. It remains a very, very good FA Cup final. And Hatcher! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue match preview. Southampton against Coventry City at St Mary's. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. I think it's on Sky Sports Plus. I don't think it's the main game, but I think it's one of the options that you can watch us. So Southampton against Coventry. We will be joined shortly by Martin Sanders, who is Football Martin, a little bit of a celebrity. I won't big him up too much, but hopefully he'll be on shortly. Before I get my co-guest in, as always, Mark Smith, just remember where you can find us. It is scrolling down at the bottom, but we're available on X or Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're also available on YouTube. So if you watch us, please go and like and subscribe. If you listen to us on a podcast, please go and rate us 5 stars. We're available on all media platforms, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo is in the corner. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. We are partnered with the Sky Blue Tavern, where I am tonight. It's been a while since I've been here. I've mainly been doing it at home, but circumstances have it that I'm here tonight. I've had a meal as well, and it was a cracking meal. It's been a while since I've had a meal, and it's a good meal if you haven't been here before. Also, Dylan's Brewery by the CBS Arena. And we are also teamed up with this season with the Sports Social Podcast Network and Sky and Friends Dog Walking and Pet Sitting Services. So without further ado, let me bring my guest in, Mark Smith. Good evening, Mark. How are you?
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everyone. Yes, good. Thank you, yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Go on, what was you going to say?
No, I've got a bit of a man flu, unfortunately. So I'm
not getting over mine, to be fair.
We must stop flirting with each other. So yeah, no. I'm glad you enjoyed the food as well. It sounds like you had a good time. So good.
Oh, mate, food! I tell you, the food here. If you haven't been here before, the food is absolutely lovely. I had chicken tikka masala. I had a bit of a mixture, to be fair. I had chicken tikka masala, keema rice, and a portion of the fish pakora, because I absolutely love the fish pakora. So it was a good food, really nice.
Yes.
So on to the football then, buddy.
Yeah.
We've just had 2 away games, 1 home, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. The loss came against Ipswich, which hopefully will get our redemption coming up soon. Also, Preston. Little bit of I went to the game. I found it a little bit weird. I don't know everything about it. The team just didn't seem right. I was a bit disappointed that Sims didn't start. Hadji got the call because Sims was in good form. He did get Player of the Month as well as Lampard getting the Manager of the Month for the second month in a row as well. And it's kind of, because people don't want to be Manager of the Month, or we don't want our manager to be Manager of the Month because it brings a Manager of the Month curse. But it hasn't happened for us because Lampard got it and we won 5 in a row. He got it again and we've started off with another win. So it seems quite good for us at the moment, doesn't it?
You can only Manager of the Month curse is just one of those things where it's just, at the end of the day, it's who you play and how you play. It's nothing to do with what you've achieved beforehand. I know people like to sort of, if you lose a game, you like to blame
superstition, Mark, superstitions.
Yeah, and I'm like when it comes to predicting games, as everyone will find out later on. But I think if we want to talk about the last recent games, I thought Ipswich were the better side up until they scored. They should have been gone down to 10 men. And I thought that didn't happen. And then after that, really, Ipswich controlled the game and they won. Preston, I thought, frustrating result, not for the lack of trying. It was just their keeper was in inspired form. we had a couple of missed chances with Hadji Wright as well, with his header in the first half I can think of. They battled very hard for that draw. We should have won the game really, being 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go, and then we just switched off for their goal, and after that they could have even won it. So it was a it's a game you take a point. I guess we was 1 point better than what we got there last season. And then Bristol City was a really, really tough game. I thought they were a good side, and it really could have gone either way. But the performance of Carl Rushworth, particularly in that game, was outstanding. It's probably the best performance I've seen from a Coventry goalkeeper at the stadium, at the CBS Arena. I think he was outstanding that game. So that was really good. And it's good to win them tight games by the odd goal to nil, because we're going to need a few more of those as the season goes on if we want to get up to the Premier League.
Yeah, we mentioned one particular player on our Sunday night X space that we do, and that was Jay De Silva. I've watched the highlights back, and he was just absolutely outstanding. I thought when I watched it back, he was just absolutely brilliant, and it's come on leaps and bounds. From a year and a half ago, probably. When he was a little bit in and out, him and Jay De Silva, Bidwell were taking it in turns a little bit. But ever since Lampard's come in, he's just been absolutely brilliant. And I know sometimes he does get done out positionally, but he's getting so far forward. And I don't think he always gets the help from I'm going to say Mason Clark, because he is normally on that left-hand side. I do find that when Asante's there, or when Asante did play there, he does help out De Silva a little bit more than what Wright did when Wright played there, and what Mason Clark does. But yeah, De Silva for me was just an absolute standout as well. And I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah, and he also was partly provided the assist for the winning goal, didn't he? Winning that header from the clearance, and Hadji Wright sort of hooked it across and past the keeper, and Mason Clark did the rest. So yeah, it was a good goal. But yeah, I agree with what you say. I mean, the fact that he's now representing Wales international football as well. On top of that, I think
and he's playing well for Wales as well.
Yeah, he's playing well. But he's not the only player playing well. I think Lampard and the coaching staff have improved a lot of these players. I mean, he's a good example. Victor Torp for me has been brilliant this season. Who else I could say? Milan obviously has been his usual good self. I think Eccles has had a good season. I think the games he's played, I think he's done pretty well. Grimes has been brilliant. Thomas Thompson Kitchen has done pretty well generally. The only player you could say hasn't done as well recently is Jack Redoni. Obviously, he's coming back from injury. He probably didn't have his best game on Saturday. I think everyone would agree on that one. But overall, we've got a really decent spine, and I think to be a successful team, you need a good spine, a good keeper, defender, centre midfield, and striker / number 10 position, and we've got that in abundance. I think. I'm hoping that come January, we'll have an opportunity to strengthen a bit more competition for places. Because if we do get some injuries or suspensions, that we've got adequate cover in place, because we don't have a big squad of players, in all honesty. And if it just takes a couple of injuries, and we're looking at the bare bones a bit. So that's my only slight concern looking ahead. When I think about Saturday's game at Southampton, I think it's going to be a very difficult game there. Since Will Still's been sacked, they have lost a couple of games on the road, but their home form has been very good. So I'm under no illusions it's going to be a pretty difficult game there. But I would say as a good thing from our point of view is they do leak goals. I mean, they were 3 up against West Brom, but West Brom got 2 back, and they could have gone back into that game. So they've got quality. They've got a lot of quality in that team. They've got players there that are good Championship players. They've underperformed massively this season, in all honesty. So from our point of view, it's going to be a tough game. I think if we were to look at the table in 2 games' time, when we're halfway through the season, I think if we can get 50 points, at least 50 points, one win, we are well on track for promotion because, if you double that, that's 100 points and you would easily get promoted with that. So I think it's a must not lose game. I'll take a point there, but it's going to be a tough game. They've got undoubted quality. Adam Armstrong, who we know a lot about, is an excellent striker. Really good, really got an eye for a goal. And yeah, I think we've got to really be on it this game. We can't afford to fall behind really, because against teams like Southampton, they won't make it easy for you.
No, they won't, definitely. And obviously, you mentioned the January transfer window there. If you could have your perfect January transfer window, how many people would you bring in? And have you got any names that you would like? I know I'm probably putting you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I would say I'd like another centre half because I'm not sure about Lassie Baudier as a cover. I know we got Morfington, but Lassie Baudier for me is not the standard for the team that we're at the moment. So I'd like to strengthen there. I think we need a good backup player for Mason Clark because we've got no Thomas Asante. I believe we'll be back next month, but I think we are a little bit light in that position. You could also argue we're light in Tatsu's position, on the wide right. We haven't got we've got sort of makeshift players in that position. So I think that the wingers are important, the supplies to forwards. You could also argue, could we get another backup player for Matty Grimes? So, example, a player we've been linked with recently has been Dan Neil at Sunderland, who's a defensive midfielder who could possibly come in. The question obviously is, would Dan Neil be prepared to bide his time and be on the bench to force his way into the team? Or is he going to be the type of personality that's going to be like, I want to be in the team right now? Because obviously right at this moment, he's on the bench at Sunderland. But I think we've got to look at players that are good enough to get to that step up. I think that's what we got. That's where we are as a football club. We've got to be looking at the next level because we're doing really well this season. We want players that have got experience. I think Dan Neil would be a good starting point for me as a midfielder. I think there's another guy called Mane, I think we're linked with, who I believe is a winger.
Yeah. I think he can play as a number 10 as well, I think.
Yeah. So, these are players. I'll be honest, I don't know much about him, but, from what I've been reading, he sounds like a good player. So I just think the wingers, centre mid, a backup defender. I don't think striker is a massive issue because we get goals from pretty much all around the pitch. And I think with the way he plays with one up front, I don't think we need to add another striker to that. You've got Ellis Sims, you've got Hadji Wright, and you've got Thomas Asante who can play up front. So I think we're reasonably covered that position because he only plays one up front. So that would be the ones I'd go for personally.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. So you've mentioned Dan Neil, and to be fair, I would like Dan Neil as well, right? But you just said as well that you want the players to make the step up. Now, he got promoted with Sunderland and he's on the bench. Would that indicate to you that he can make that step up? Because if he's not playing for Sunderland, is it a question of that they've just... Obviously, I know he's kind of been replaced by Granit Xhaka, who, was brilliant at Arsenal. He went away and he's showing his quality again. So it's going to be hard when you're against that. But is Dan James what we need, or do we need to go for a step up that's going to be starting as soon as he comes in?
I think Stuart, we have to be realistic about our targets. We're not going to get someone who's a ready-made player, a Premier League player. I think we're going to get a player that's, in my opinion, we're going to get probably a cast-off Premier League player, like a Dan Neil, who's he's not featuring as much for the first team at Sunderland. Dan James is an interesting one because he plays wide right and he's a good player. He's definitely a very good player at Championship level. He has got Premier League experience, but I think we have to be honest about who we can get. Usually, though, obviously we don't just rely on players in England. We've got players abroad as well that are unknown quantities. So I don't think we should. Obviously, the scouting team's job will be to cast their eye around the world, around the globe, to see who they can attract. So I think that Mane we were talking about earlier is one example of that. But I think it's end of the day, it's still speculation about these players. I think it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the next sort of month or so, because it's clear to me we're in a very good position. We've got money in the bank. We sold Ben Sheaf as an example for $6.5 million. We didn't replace him. So I'm sure Doug King will give Frank Lampard some money, and hopefully we can get the right personnel in, and hopefully to finish the job off, because we're doing really well at the moment. And I think what I don't think we can afford to do as a club is sell players, because there's been rumours about a couple of our players being linked with other clubs. Saji Wright being one that I keep seeing on social media, but I mean it could just be speculation. We just don't know. I just think if you're going to sell one of our players, you've got to have a ready-made replacement. We can't afford to sell players at this stage of the season. I don't care how much the money is, because to get promoted to the Premier League, you're getting, £150 million? So is it really worth selling someone for £20 million or £15 million in January? I don't think it is, personally. It's going to weaken the squad. So unless they've got someone else in mind, I'm not in favour of selling players. I think we've got to keep the squad as it is, but we need to add to that squad. We've got money. I don't think we've got a lot of money, but we have got money I think we'll spend, and I'm hoping that money gets spent wisely.
Yeah, and would you like to see, obviously you've mentioned that we've got a thinnish squad anyway. Would you like to see us bulk it up with maybe a few more loans? Because obviously at the moment we've only got Rushworth. Would you like a few more loans, or is it a case of see who you can get on maybe a free transfer, or do a deal for somebody that's running out of contract in the summer, see if we can get him then a little bit earlier? Or would you want to see it a little bit more loan, or a combination of both?
I think with the loan one, I think it's just a question of, if you're going to get someone on loan, then you're going to have to start that player, because they'll be expecting to feature in the first team. So they've got to really be better than what we've got. So I think that's the danger with that one. I think it's a tricky one. I think you can get the loan market whenever you want. I don't think it's just restricted to January. I think it's only buying players permanently that is where it's restricted to. So I'm a bit hesitant about the loan scenario, unless we pick up injuries, of course, or suspensions, or injuries in particular for me. And obviously, got the free transfers of that. But I think they'll. We didn't make a lot of signings, really, did we, in the summer? We haven't really added much to the squad.
No.
Who knows what's going to happen in January? I really hope we can get a couple of good, experienced Championship players that could potentially make the step ups to the Prem. And they're not easy players to get. Or you go the abroad route, where similar sort of thing, where that you're looking at players that can they make the step up? Can they play at the next level? Because that's where we are as a football club. We're top of the league. We're playing well, and we want players to improve us. We don't want to just have average Championship players that are not of the caliber of where we are as a football club. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, and obviously one interesting sort of situation that might come about in January is we might have Dovin back. By all reports or things that I've seen anyway, haven't heard much about him, but again, I think he's progressing well and that he's still on course. Nobody has said that he's had a setback or anything. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Dovin, whether he's going to become a number 2. I wouldn't want to see him thrown in, because I think, one, that would be completely out of order with Rushworth, and Rushworth is a really, really good goalkeeper, or whether we send him out on loan. What kind of situation do you see maybe happening?
I think potentially could go out on loan, maybe, to get some game time, because we don't, at the moment, we've got Rushworth in goal, who's, from what I understand, doesn't have a recall option. in the January, so he is here for the season as far as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no need to play someone who hasn't played football for quite a while, 8-9 months, or wherever it is. I think it's a long time that Dobbin's been out. It might be prudent, bear in mind you've got Ben Wilson. He could send him on loan, although of course Brad Collins is currently on loan as well. But I think you could probably get away with, Dobbin going out on loan. It's a difficult one really because I think. I personally would do that, but equally, I can probably see Lampard saying, "Actually, he's going to be my number 2. I'm going to have him on the bench." He could do that. That's just my view. I would send him on loan
maybe.
to answer your question.
Okay, fair enough. And also a big shout out to George Shepherd that's just signed. He has turned 17. There was interest from other clubs apparently, by all report. Again, just reports. We don't know for actual clarification. But yeah, big shout out to him. 17, just signed his first professional contract with Coventry City, which is great to hear. A Coventry lad. So hopefully he can get a few minutes under his belt in a cup match or something like that against Stoke and see where it goes from there. So a big shout out to him as well. We are still waiting for Martin to join us. He's not come backstage yet, so hopefully he'll be on soon. Is there anything else, Mark, that you want to talk about or say before Martin comes on?
I was going to echo your point about George Shepherd. I think that's really good. It's good that the club and credit to the academy staff as well for getting a youngster who's signed his professional contract. It's really good to see. We haven't really produced anyone maybe since Josh Eckel, so it's good that someone's coming through, and hopefully it'll be the start of a really good career for him. So I'm really hoping that the fact that Man United were rumoured to want him is a testament to how good he is. So I'm looking forward to seeing him put the sky blue shirt on, and hopefully he'll deliver some really good performances for us. I guess the only question I've got before Martin comes on, is in terms of the number of points. I mean, this is maybe a question for the audience that are watching this and they replay this back. How many points do we need for automatics this season? Because I mean, if you cast your mind back to last season, Sheffield United, 93 points, I think it was, and didn't even go up. Third place didn't go up. What do you think is the points total that we can get that could be good enough for automatics?
Look, I think you're looking around about 9. I had 95 in my head, just because I think everything is a little bit more condensed. People are taking points off each other all the time. But I think 95 will be enough to get you promoted or into the top 2 at least. But yeah, it's a difficult one because unless we have a massive drop off, and somebody overtakes us and absolutely batters the rest of the league, and I'm talking about maybe in Ipswich or Southampton, because I can only really see them two. Middlesbrough are doing brilliantly, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I can only see them two, maybe Middlesbrough, maybe overtaking us if we have a massive, massive dip off. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully that doesn't happen and we can have that, we can break away. I'm hoping that, again, the second half of the season is just as strong as it has done in the past, because we normally come into our own when it comes to sort of, February, sort of March time, and then we go on a really nice run. And but if it started this early, hopefully we can carry that on. I can't see Lampard dropping his standards or the players dropping their standards for Lampard. So I can only see us hopefully going on. But look, every game's tough. We know that, and we're fighting for every point that we can get. And I think, look, as I've always said, if you win your home games and draw your away games, you'll be somewhere close. And at the moment, that's what we're doing. So I can only hope that it continues, really, or we can pick up extra points away from home.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, we're doing more than 4 points a game. I think when we're 4 points every 2 games, I think we're averaging 21 games, 47 points. That's well over 2 points a game, which is really, really good to see. I'm just sort of thinking about Saturday's game against Southampton. What if you're Frank Lampard now? You're looking at Southampton. How would you set up tactically against them? Would you potentially go 3 at the back, maybe, or would you go 2 at the back and sort of play a similar way like you would do at the CBS?
Well, I think they're definitely going to be more of a passing side and possession side than probably what we've come up against maybe in recent weeks. I think I just think we go there, we play our own game, and do I see us going 5? I can see him going 5 at the back, maybe to give us extra bodies in midfield. Going forward if we need to catch you on the break in Milan, in De Silva. But then if you do that, you're changing either Sakamoto's role or Mason Clark's role, or even both. And I just think that the way that we set up, we set up in a way that we have them wide men nice and wide. So, yeah, it's a good point, but I do see us carrying on with being 4-2-3-1 and playing the way that we play, really.
And what about Rodoni? Because he's, as I said earlier, he hasn't been at his best in recent games. We all know he's a tremendous player. He's had a fantastic season last year. Would you persist with him in the starting lineup?
Yes, I would, because I think that the only way that you can get better is by playing games. And I know he hasn't been at his best, but I think at the moment, I wouldn't say that we're carrying him by any stretch of the imagination. I think in the past we've carried Hadji Wright and others a lot more than we have Rodoni. But it's like having probably 10 and a half men. He's not quite there. But you have to go through that barrier. You have to get the minutes and everything in your legs, and that's when you get your fitness there and your touch there and everything else. So hopefully he'll be on top form come Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 2 ways you could go if you want to make a tweak the size. You could either, this is just me speaking. I look at Saturday's team, for example, it's Bristol City. You could say drop Rodoni, put him on the bench, and you could either play Wolfenden or you go Josh Eccles as a third midfielder, because Josh Eccles didn't start, and obviously he came off against Preston. So you could play like a 4-5-1, a more of a flatter 4-5-1, and be a bit more defensive. I guess what I tend to think he does a lot is he goes tacking, but then if we're in the lead, then he brings on the extra midfielder to sort of just defensive midfielder, shore things up a bit.
Yeah.
I just think I look at Southampton's formation. So they tend to play. I think it's a 3 at the back, 3-4-2-1. So they tend to play Adam Armstrong as the lone striker and sort of 2. Well, on Saturday's game, looking at this team lineup, they've gone with Finazaz and Cienza, I think, as the 2 number 10s. So does that? I mean, I'm not an expert tactician, but I'm thinking, do we go the extra midfielder? If we go slightly defensive, do we drop Rodoni and go Josh Eccles maybe? Who's got an eye for a goal, but he also can give you that bit of protection at the back, midfield as well. We've got Grimes, you've got Victor Torp as well. He can, if you want to move someone forward, you've got Victor Torp.
Yeah, maybe
push him further forward. That's the probably I would go. I'd probably go the extra man in midfield and go sort of 5 across midfield, and try and deny him space would be my way. The other question, I guess, is how do you write an Ellis Sims conundrum? Because how do you write? I've been surprised. I'll be honest. I think Eddie Sims has been very unlucky not to be starting the last couple of games. How do you write? However, has performed quite well, but badly needs a goal. So the question of Lampard is: do you persist with Hadji Wright and think, you know what, we're going to back you, or do you go back to Ellis Sims and say, you know what, you did well for me before, I'm going to recall you again. You might have something, a point to prove to Frank Lampard. What? I'd like to see Ellis Sims start personally, but what's your thoughts?
Well, I was surprised that he didn't start against Preston. And because he's gone Hadji for the past 2 games, I'm going to say that he sticks with Hadji. I think Hadji's his man. I think he sees Ellis maybe more of a off the bench option to just run everything down as much as he possibly can. I think he was slightly unlucky on Saturday as well, really.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's the way that would go. We are joined by Martin now backstage, the celebrity that is football Martin. So let's bring him on.
Guys,
good evening, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
That's a very nice intro. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, you're very welcome. Before we get started, I saw one of your TikToks. Have you sold any more of them jumpers?
Oh, sold loads. It's classic football shirts that did it. Yeah, I've never really focused much on selling stuff on TikTok, but I did put that one out there because I have to say I think it's the best Southampton home shirt of many years, that one, and the fact that they've turned it into a Christmas jumper was quite incredible. Back in the days of Pony, we both had Pony, didn't we? Coventry City, they had Pony. Southampton had Pony, and I've seen some Coventry remakes recently, and I've got to say, I was like, come on, Saints, I want to see some of these remakes because they're really good.
The amount that's coming out of the retro shirts and stuff, it seems like there's one a week at the moment. There's loads going about.
Yeah, they're amazing. I love them. Absolutely.
Yeah, they are. They're good, aren't they? Right. So for people that people that are watching this podcast will like football and they'll probably know of you. But just in case they don't, just remind us, Martin, what you do and where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, TikTok. I've got an Instagram account, Facebook. I'm pretty much everywhere, to be honest. I cover Southampton. I love Southampton. I bleed red and white. I cover them up and down the country every game. I do an instant reaction. So if you're a Coventry City fan and you want to get some instant reaction from the opposition at the weekend, I do a very frank and honest instant reaction video on YouTube and TikTok, a longer format on YouTube, where I just talk about the game, the opposition, and I'm never biased. I'll say it how I see it. And I think that's the biggest feedback I've had this year, is that's probably my most watched video of the week. I cover everything, really. I cover a bit of tactical analysis, pre-match preview, which I'll be doing with yourself as well. And just like to bring the best in fan content creation. There's a real sparkle around content creators like ourselves at this moment in time. I think people want it from genuine, honest people. I think they like to hear it from fans that resonate a voice like their own. Yeah. And I think there's more and more content creators getting more opportunities, not just with managers, but with players. And I think it's a really exciting time to be doing what we're doing because more and more people want it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. So, obviously, you started off the season, Martin, with Will Still. Didn't go according to plan. And then Tonda Eckhart came in and he's changed your fortunes around. What's changed from Will Still to Tonda?
Yeah, a lot's changed. I'm surprised at how bad it worked out with Will Still, to be honest. I've got to say, I was excited by the appointment. When I saw him on Monday Night Football with Carragher and Dave Jones, really enjoyed him. I thought he came across really well. I listened to his podcast on high performance with Damien Hughes and Jake Humphreys, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was like, I'm well excited. And I was like, I want to meet this guy. I want to talk to him. I want to understand what makes him tick. And I pestered the hell out of the football club, and they actually let me interview him at the start of the season. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I've spoken about it many times. He came across as a man that was lived and breathed it. He's young, and that was a bit of a concern walking away. He's younger than me. I thought the lack of experience may be an issue. He'd managed teams in France that maybe were looking to just, they were fighting against the odds a little bit more, and he was going to have to come here and be a little bit more expansive and have a proper go. Southampton's a funny setup. Like a lot of these football clubs, you have sporting directors, you have different people involved in the transfer policy. I do wonder, with the signings that were made, whether they were all his, because when they come through the door, he wasn't quick to play certain individuals. Finn has been one of those. Tom Fellows. Tom Fellows was brought as a right winger, and he's spent, even under Eckert, he's playing as a wing back, which is a bit bizarre, really, for a player of his caliber. So it just didn't work out. Results just weren't good enough. The Wrexham game papered over a lot of cracks. We weren't very good on the day, but we got a result. The derby against Portsmouth was so lackluster. It kind of, if there's any way you can look back on his tenure and reflect upon it, like his demeanour and the way he was as a human, and that performance was kind of all matched that day. It was just dull. And yeah, we went to Hull. We got beaten quite heavily. And yeah, the final straw against Preston was the nail in the head, Stuart. And that was it. You know, he was the people in the firing line were the owners. Well, they quickly took it off themselves because they sacked the manager.
So what's Tonda done different apart from maybe organising the team a little bit better?
He's done I'll be honest with you. I think the fixtures fell nicely for him. You know, you have QPR away. QPR are a great side. Where Sheffield Wednesday at home. So two ideal games before the international break. He got results in both. And we were really good against. We weren't really good against Sheffield Wednesday. We were okay. Let's not get carried away. We were poor at QPR. Got lucky, and they kind of they wanted to leave it because he was always brought in to be Will Steele's successor. He was the under-21 manager. So we had no real. It wasn't working in Will Steele's coach stuff. He was totally brought in from the under-21s, and then they give him the Charlton game, and he was going to be given the Charlton Leicester. I can't remember who the game was at the end of that week. Maybe it was Millwall, and the game at Charlton was so good. We caught him off guard. He's got Finn Azaz playing in the 10, so he's playing a bit more inside. He's let Tom Fellows get up the field. Taylor Harwood, same system, but he's just kind of got the players playing up the field, and he's got people in their positions. So he's got Taylor Harwood-Bellis playing as a right side centre back, not a left side centre back. Nathan Wood sits in the middle. He's brought Jack Stevens, the captain, back in, a leader, to the left hand side of defence. And then you've got a really good young midfielder in Casper Yander, who's given a lot of responsibility to. And then the man at the moment, the best player down here in the red and white of Southampton is Leo Cienza. He is a Brazilian midfielder. He's got flair. He's got so much excitement when he gets the ball. The fans love him. And when he gets on the ball, he goes forward. And that's all the fans want to see is us having a go. And that's what he's done. He's got us having a go. He's got us up the field, and he's got players in the box. And the XG that we had at the start of the season with the XG Kings couldn't convert. Now we're converting. And I've got to say, by the way, I didn't mention Adam Armstrong. He's in some brilliant form. And it's all down to Eckert. Eckert has to take sole responsibility for no manager at Southampton Football Club in the time he's been here for 4 years, have got Adam Armstrong to play number 9 and play it well. He's playing it so well. It is an absolute, because everyone said he can't do it. He's crap. He can't do it. His touch ain't good enough. He can't turn defenders. He's not good enough to play the 9. He's always played in a channel out wide. All of a sudden, you got him in the middle, but he sits in and he drops off. And he picks up and he gets runners around him, and he's a real danger man now. Yeah. So Charlton give him too much space, Leicester give him too much space, and West Brom did in the first half last week. And they're the games that we've been really good in, but we're good for 45 minutes, guys. That's what I say. We've been really good for 45 minutes. Our second halves leave a lot to be desired. Okay,
fair enough. Well, we haven't got the best history against you. I've been looking. I'm sure I was looking correctly. The last 6, you've won 5. You haven't lost 1, and we've drew 1. The last Cov win at St Mary's was a 2-1 win. Whelan and Huckabee scored in '98. And the last win home or away was back in 2008. And that was a 4-1 win, and J Tab scored twice, Mackenzie and Leon Best. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
been a while. Obviously, I know you've had the Premier League in between that as well. It's been a while since we've managed to get a win against you, really. So, and this season as well, it just seems like your home form. What's difference between home and away? What are you doing differently? Anything, or are you just trying to do the same?
Not loads really. I travel home and away, and I think the game plans are pretty much the same. The setup's the same. We try and start games fast. We try and get the two wide men on the ball a lot, Cienza, Fellows, and try and get Armstrong dropping in the hole. We did it really, really well at Charlton. We went to Millwall and really struggled because they put a press on us. And I think when sides sit off against us, we can be quite effective. But then we can be quite dangerous if a side throw men at us. Like I watched what Leicester did at our place. They were just like they left too many gaps between midfield and their defence. They left a lot of holes. They weren't compact. Against a compact side, we've struggled. And when I look back at the game at Millwall, they were compact, hard to play through, physical. They matched us man for man. They didn't give Fellow space. They kind of caught him out of the game. I think it's such an intriguing fixture, this one against Coventry. I really do, because I think it's a real test for us for loads of ways, because at home we've been proper having a go at sides. But when you're playing a Coventry side that are just so good at the moment, I know you had a little bit of a wobble last couple of games, but I've got so much talent in the front 4, 5. You're so dangerous to play against. So I do wonder how Eckert's going to approach it. I think tactically it's a fascinating spectacle. I really do. I don't think I've been excited for a game as much as this all season. I look forward to the derby, and it absolutely let me down. This game will not let anyone down this weekend. I don't see it. I just see.
You've said it now, though, haven't you?
I just see two really good teams going head to head. Some brilliant players, and I think there's so much you can watch Coventry play football, and there's so much to admire about the way they go about playing, the way they attack teams. I think Brandon Thomas Asante, a lot of people when he was signed for Coventry, I was like, I would have loved to seen Thomas Asante at us, and he's I think he's your top goal scorer, joint top goal scorer.
Yeah,
he's quite brilliant.
He won't be playing, so you'll be pleased.
He won't be playing because he's out injured.
Yeah.
Any questions, Mark, for Martin?
I mean, Southampton are sort of ninth. They've made as you say, they have picked up since Eckert's come in. Do you think Southampton, A, will they get in the playoffs, and B, do you think they've got enough to get out of this division back into the Premier League?
I think it's a really good question, Mark. I hope so, and I think with the amount that was spent in the summer, they should absolutely minimum requirement be in the playoffs. Minimum requirement. It would be a huge failure to not be in there. But they have taken a gamble. Eckert, he's done well. There's big tests to come, and he's had some big tests already. One of those I would say was a couple of weeks ago at Millwall, and we couldn't get it over the line. He was outdone by an experienced manager in Alex Neil. Comes up against Frank Lampard the weekend, who's very experienced, but knows how to get teams over the line, knows how to get results when the going does get tough. And I think that will make or break the season, is those games against those experienced managers that have been around the block a bit. I don't think we'll get top 2. I think we may just sneak the playoffs. I think we've got a good enough score. If we went and added the right personnel in January, and we could have a good... I just done a video for my channel over the 5 festive fixtures.
Yeah. If
we could walk out of the festive 5 in the playoffs and Middlesbrough have a wobble, I'd be like in second. But I think I said on Benjamin Bloom's channel yesterday, I joined him, and I think we're both of the agreements that the buffer that Coventry have got, you will go up. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the Premier League.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, I think for me as a Coventry fan, I don't mind if it's first or second. I just want promotion. I'm not really bothered about that. I just want us. For me as a Coventry fan, it's been our best chance in 25 years of being outside the top flight. So
yeah,
I don't personally think the standard this year is as strong as say last season. I look at the sides that come up. The sides that came up to the Premier League, the Burnley, Leeds, Sunderland, I think were stronger sides than Leicester, yourselves, and Ipswich. Well, I think I'd say probably from what I've seen at the moment, I think Ipswich are a better side than Leicester. I think Southampton are a good side, have probably underachieved this season. But I do expect Southampton to be in the playoffs. And I think I'm hoping we get automatics, because if we end up in third and potentially get Southampton to the playoffs, I don't really want that personally as a Cov fan.
Yeah.
I want us to get up and get these points fairly quickly, and then we can let the other team slug it out for the promotion spots. But it's been a really exciting season. It's been brilliant. It's been entertaining. Edge of the seat stuff, and I think it would be a really exciting game. It'll probably be 0-0 after all that, but I think it'll be an exciting game on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it. But from a Coventry perspective, it's a really, really tough game. If we can come away with it with a point, absolutely delighted being your away team. I think I'll take your hands off of a point at Southampton personally.
Yeah, I'd take
definitely.
a point.
Yeah. Just moving on to the game then. It looks like you've got a few players out. Obviously, we've mentioned a few already. But when I went on to the stats where I try and find the information out, it said you've got Tom Fellows out, Damien Downs, Rabislav, Shay Charles, Gillette, Ross Stewart. He just seems out all the time anyway. And Dozy. Armstrong was back, and Wellington looked like they were back as well. Are any of them likely to feature, or are they all out, or are they all back? Or
I'm quite close to sort of like squad news, or I know a bit about injury concerns and things. Tom Fellows, they're hoping he'd be available for the weekend. He's bit of a precaution the weekend. He had picked up a bit of a groin strain against West Bromwich Albion, his former club. They don't expect it to be too bad, but they hope to have him available for the weekend. I think they keep that one right under their hats, though, because I think they want to try and surprise Coventry and include him. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that he's out and he's involved in the match day squad. Regards to Damien Downs, he's been an absolute flop. I wouldn't, even if he was playing, even if he was available, it wouldn't. He's been so poor. He's not scored a goal for us yet, and not set the world alight. Summer signing for £7 million, just been way short of being anywhere near good enough to play at this level, to be honest. Roslev, he's a right back, not played a lot, coming from Brentford. He's not been great, to be quite honest. Though we don't play with fullbacks, he wouldn't have probably played anyways, but he's been coming on late in games when we're trying to firm things up. Yeah, let's just, he's on loan. We've hardly seen him other than at Liverpool in the Cup. And I think he played one game in the league at home. We've hardly seen him. So I think injury-wise, the squad's in a good place. Adam Armstrong picked up a bit of a knock against West Brom, but he was all right for the game at the weekend. Obviously, he missed the penalty against Norwich. I don't think there's any major concern. Shay Charles is a little bit of a setback. He won't feature. Looks like he could be out for the whole of the festive period, which is, I'd say, a fairly big blow, to be quite honest, because he was a good player at the start of the season for us, and a man on the wall behind me scoring that goal at Anfield. He's a top lad, actually, and I've got a lot of time for him.
Okay, and obviously Ross Stewart and Adozi. Ross Stewart just can't catch a break, can he? He just seems like he's coming back and firing, and I don't know what's wrong with him, really.
He's missed a lot of football, a lot of football. Too much football now, maybe. I think he's lost. Yeah. He lost a season, 2 seasons. Like he's never played any football. Obviously, we end up in the Premier League, and he got a little bit of game time at the end of last year. He made a bit of a comeback after missing the whole of the season before. And do you know what? He looked rusty, and he managed to get a pre-season in himself, which is the first one he's done for a while. And unfortunately, he just can't stay fit. He come in, he looked like he was going to be the saviour. Started, Will still wanted to play a little bit direct, and he needed a physical, strong centre forward, which he didn't have. He gets him in the side after not using him because he was fit. Brings him in, has a really good spell, scores 2 against Sheffield United, scores an absolute belter at Bramall Lane, and then we go to Pride Park and he gets injured. When he played 3 games in a week, when he'd not played 3 games in a freaking year, he played 3 games in a week. Total and utter mismanagement from the manager, who should have never, ever, ever been allowed to do that. But then that's the inexperience of inexperienced managers. They can cost you big time sometimes. and he cost us a player for a long. I don't think we'll see him again. Personally, that's how I feel. I just don't see him playing for us again.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, go on, Matt.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I tell you a player I did rate at Southampton when they played against a couple of seasons back was Rebo in that midfield. I thought he was class, but what's happened to him? He's been on the bench quite a bit. Is he not?
Interesting one. It's a great question, Mark. I could get a little story around it for you. So he was deemed out of favour by Will Steele in the summer. Will Steele only wanted people involved in his squad that wanted to be at the football club. And if he weren't interested, he bombed them. He was in what I called the bomb squad. So it was him and Adozi were bombed. They tried to flog him and get rid of him, and they couldn't get rid of them. So they've ended up, both of them, still at the club. And Aribo, even when we had injury crisis, was nowhere to be seen. Eckert's got him back involved, but he's looking a little bit heavy, and his performance at Millwall was absolutely crucified by the fan base because he's a bit lazy, he's a bit casual, and he cost us at the Den big time. He didn't look after the ball for an experienced player. A lot of fans feel that he doesn't want to be here. That's not necessarily my view, but a lot of fans feel it's time for him to go. He will go in the January window. He's become a bit of a utility player, really, but a man that's on his way out the door. Looks like he'd go back to Rangers, I think, by the looks of it, Mark.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks,
Fair enough. Any questions for us, Martin?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of questions for you. Look, I'm really looking forward to the game. I feel it's a real test for us to see where we're at in terms of our progression under Eckert and whether we're anywhere near as good as Coventry. In terms of your form, you've wobbled a little bit in recent weeks. Have performances still been good?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah, I think it's been pretty good. I'd say I was just saying earlier about the Ipswich game. I thought we were the better side in the first half, probably for the most of it before they scored. We probably should have. Unfortunately, the referee made a decision about not sending off Hurst, and I think that was a turning point. And then once Ipswich got ahead, to be fair to them, they were the better team after that. So I got no complaints massively. I thought Preston was a frustrating result. I don't think it was for the lack of trying. We played pretty well, but they defended well, Preston, and their goalkeeper was very good. I thought Bristol City were tough opponents on Saturday. They were dogging defensively. We've played against sides that have been good defensively and good goalkeeping as well. We just managed to get over the line against Bristol City, and Rushworth had an absolute blinder that game. So I think we've been probably 6.5, 7 out of 10 performances. We haven't been probably not as fantastic as we were. We were playing like Harlem Globetrotters at the start of the season, but this is the Championship. It's a tough division. Teams aren't going to come and roll and die sort of thing. You have to earn your way. We've ground out some wins, and I see this game as another sort of game where you've got to get. I think whoever gets that first goal is crucial to this game, because what I found with the Ipswich game is once Ipswich scored, they're never ever going to concede. The only encouragement I could say from our point of view is I think unlike Ipswich, Southampton do concede goals. If you look at their last 6 games, I think you've only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 6. So if there's one bit of encouragement for us looking at our team attacking wise, we have got that, and we do score goals. We score goals pretty much every game. I think it's been about 3 or 4 maybe out of the 20 odd games we played this season we haven't scored. So we always got a goal or two in us. It's just a case of can we withstand the quality of Southampton going forward, because there is plenty of quality in that squad. I really do think they've massively underperformed this season. Southampton, they should be where we are. They should be challenging top 2, Premier League budget with the parachute payments. They should be doing a lot better. So for me, I know they're 9th in the league, Southampton, but really we're playing a side that really should be challenging this season, certainly at least playoffs. So it's a tough game for us.
Yeah, I want to ask you both, actually. I think it's an intriguing for any Southampton fan, because I've watched a bit of Coventry. Not everybody's watched Coventry. We don't like dealing with sides that cross balls into the box. West Brom did it a lot in the second half a week ago at St Mary's. Millwall did it, and we really struggle with sides that like to get the ball in the box. When I've watched Coventry, you get wide a lot, and you get balls in the box, are you still doing that?
Yeah, completely. It's where our main threats are. With Sakamoto and Mason Clark, or even when Asante was there, or Radoni or Torp, there's always somebody coming in from across. And whether it's Haji Wright, obviously corners, free kicks. We've got Bobby Thomas that's dangerous. Kitchen scored 2 against Middlesbrough. We are scoring from everywhere, really. But yeah, it's still what we're doing. It's, our philosophy won't change. Going back to your first question, the only game probably that everybody was below par was Halloween when it was our first loss against Wrexham. And everybody was below par. And we were also missing 3 players out of the back 4. Milan was suspended. Bobby Thomas and De Silva both had little injuries, so they didn't start either. So that just accumulated with everything, really, with not playing well, missing 3 out of the back 4. It was just one of them things that we had. But the next game we beat Sheffield United 3-1. I think it was 3-1 anyway. But yeah, it's what we do. Lampard won't change what he does because it's the way that we set up and it's worked for us so far. So that's exactly what we'll do. Get the ball wide and get the ball in the box, and hopefully we'll take advantage. I think there will be goals in this one. I think there'll be a fair few as well.
The goalkeeper as well, I've been impressed with Rushworth. Great bit of business to bring him in on loan, wasn't it, from Brighton? He looks every part a top level goalkeeper. Isn't it amazing what having a decent goalkeeper can do? Southampton fans are very critical of both of our goalkeepers, but Rushworth is the sort of keeper that we need. He's commanding of his area. He's a good shot stopper, and he's vital in big moments. I saw the save he made late in the game at Bristol City at the gate. Oh, what a save!
Yeah, it was down our end, and we all thought it was in, and we couldn't believe that he tipped it over. He got us to 3 points because it wasn't just that save. There was probably maybe 3 or 4 other saves that he did with his feet, tips it over the bar, nearly an own goal, and he saves it with his leg. He's just brilliant, and we tried to sign him. It wasn't our first call to try and get him on loan. I think we put in a 5-6 million bid that got turned down because Brighton, they rate him very, very highly. Van Bruggen looks like he might be out this next summer, so they might want him to be his number 1 anyway. So eventually he'll play in the Premier League, I think, whether it's with us or with somebody else. So, but yeah, it's that spine that you need, isn't it? You need the goalkeeper, your centre halves, your midfield, and then a good striker, and then you can filter everything else kind of around that, if you like.
The right back, superb as well. Your right back,
Milan. He had a little bit of an off. He had a little bit of an off season last season, and I just think that was he got too complacent because he didn't have any challenge. It was his place. Nobody else was there. This season, we've brought Kessler Hayden in, who was Preston's Player of the Year last year, and he's just been absolutely brilliant for us in terms of keeping Milan to the standard that he needs to be. So can't ask for any more, really.
But it's hard to pull out a standout player, isn't it? When you've had so many players play well, and you've had so many goals across the side, who's like your standout? If you could say your top 3. Because it's so hard to pick one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Go on, Mark.
I think Sakamoto has to be up there for this season. Creativity is sublime. He's got 2 good feet. He's skillful. He can play inside. He can play with links well with Milan. I think he would be one player I would say has had a really good season. Victor Torp is another one. I think the thing to say about Frank Lampard is this is pretty much more or less Mark Robinson's squad that he had last season before he went. And Lampard, not just Lampard, but the coaching staff, I look at even people like Dr. Claire Marie Roberts in the psychology part, there's a massive change in the performance of the players. The players have improved massively. You look at Jay De Silva, last season was, everyone was targeting him, bullying him. He's improved massively. He's now playing for Wales. He played against Saka for Wales against England at Wembley. He's come on leaps and bounds. Victor talks to say, scoring goals, creating chances. He looks class. It's just the whole team. The whole team is there's a definite change in mindset. We look a hungry team. We look a fit side. We don't, when we play games where we're winning by the odd goal, we don't just sit back and put, everyone behind the ball. We try and score another goal. The Middlesbrough game is an example of that, where we've got the 3-2 up, and we were like, right, we're not happy with that. We want the next goal. And we got that next goal. So I think that's what I like about this team, is a hunger. There's a hunger to win games. Yeah. The players like each other. There's a good camaraderie to the playing squad as well. And I think keeping continuity, I think, has been massive this season. We haven't lost. We've got rid of the players that we want to get rid of, the fringe players, when we've kept the core to the side. I think that's massive for this season. So let's hope it continues. It's still a long way to go, but 47 points, we're pretty much halfway there to promotion, really. We just got to hopefully have a strong second half of the season, or I know we're still in the first half, but that's if we can come away this game with a draw, and then hopefully we'll beat Swansea, and we're looking at 50 plus points, and happy days, really. But overall, yeah, very positive.
Sakamoto wouldn't even be in my top 3, by the way. That's how weird it is. Rushworth, Milan, Bobby Thomas, De Silva. They're probably my top 3 or 4. But you could name, I haven't even named Asante and Sims. Every time it seems like we've got an injury, somebody else just steps up. So, yeah, it's a credit to the whole team, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Right, prediction time then, boys. Mark, I'll start with you.
I won't change the habit of a lifetime. I think it will be 2-0 Southampton half time, and then we get it back to 2-2. So I'm going 2-2.
Wow.
Ooh,
okay.
Bit cracker, isn't it?
I know, yeah. Go on then, Martin.
Cool. It's such a tough one to call. And I was talking about it on my show that I recorded before I come on with you, and I find it really hard to call it. I do worry you have a bit too much for us. I think you could punish us out wide. Deep down, like in my head, I think Coventry will win it. I think you'll win it. I think you'll bully us from crosses, and I think you'll probably walk away with I'm going to go with I'll go with my head and go with my heart. I'll go with a 3-2 win for Coventry. In my heart, Saints just to edge it, 4-3.
Wow. I'm going to say 4-2. I'm going to say 4-2 Cov. I think there will be a lot of goals. We've all got
for goals, haven't we? We've got.
I know, all got for goals. I think there will be.
Nil-nil, won't it? It end up being a 0-0 draw.
It could be 4. It could be 4-4 like Man United and Bournemouth. Yes, was it yesterday?
Oh, what a game! What a game!
I know, yeah, mental. Right, so with all our guests, Martin, I like to do one-worded answers. We called it quick fire. So one words if you can, but don't worry if it does go into a sentence. That's fine. So the first one is one player to look out for this season for you guys.
Cienza. Yep.
Okay. Where will Cov finish this year?
Top.
Okay. Where will you finish?
Just inside the playoffs. 6.
Okay. And one player from Coventry you would take at the moment?
One? Rushworth, the goalkeeper.
Okay. Fair enough.
All day.
Fantastic. So before we let you go, when we finish recording, don't shoot off. We'll have a quick chat afterwards. Just remind everyone where we can find you and what you do, Martin.
Yeah, find me over at YouTube, at @footballmartin_. Check me out. Make sure you go see the instant reaction from the game on lunchtime Saturday. And I just want your opinions. As a Coventry fan, once the game's finished, just give me your honest opinions about it, whether you're there or not. Everyone will be watching it. If you're a Coventry fan, you'll be watching it no matter what. And I just want to hear the opinions of the Coventry fans, because I love not hearing just the thoughts of the Saints fans. I want to hear what the opposition have got to say. So get involved in the instant reaction on Saturday.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So Just before you go, remember where you can find us. It is scrolling down at the bottom as well. We are available on X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Please go to Facebook as well. Please go and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you listen to us on a podcast, please go and rate us 5 stars. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country. We are partnered with Dylan's Brewery and the Sky Blue Tavern. And we are also teamed up with the Sports Social Podcast Network and Sky and Friends Dog Walking and Pet Sitting Services. So, Martin, thank you very much for joining us. Our Southampton expert, content creator, and genuinely nice guy. Mark, thank you very much. Much appreciated once again.
Yeah.
Play up Sky Blues.